Hello, I'm ABX Toycat, and welcome back to another episode of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the survival Let's Play, where I give you a weekly update as to what's going on in my world, and indeed life, the universe, and everything in between. The biggest thing in my universe this week, though, is the fact that I don't have a Mending Elytra. I lost my Elytra, which we're mending on, into some fire in the end recently. Basically, I fought the dragon, there was some burning. It sucks, and it was, in my opinion, BS, but that doesn't change the fact that because this is a pure survival Let's Play, I lost an item that cost me 8 hours to get. 8 hours of fishing. You probably saw the streams or the video recapping them. So I lost a lot of time, I lost a lot of effort, and I need to get mending again. But rather than fishing for another 8 hours, which I think would literally kill my soul, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to do the new hat way of getting mending, and I'm going to start a villager farm. So I guess I should technically mention, you could do this in the previous updates before the Village and Pillage update. It just got a lot easier as a Village and Pillage because there are more, book trades available, and also you can get all librarian villagers if you know what you're doing, which I hope we're going to find out that we do in today's video. So yeah, I've got a bunch of wood, which is going to be important for making lecterns and also bookshelves later. I've got some bookshelves themselves, I've got some leather, and now I need to go get some paper and fill these shulker boxes with them because they're going to serve a dual purpose. So yeah, if you want to do this, I guess it helps to have an insane sugarcane farm first. I love that you can see it even all the way from over here. But yeah, pro tip. So for now, we're just going to do a little bit of breaking of the sugarcane farm. Obviously, we need to do a lot of this later. But first, I want to set up the basics and, kind of guide you through it. Because I'm also going to be testing it for the first time and making sure that we do, in fact, get the results we want before, going in and diving into all the sugarcane we're going to need, all of the paper we're going to need. Because, pro tip, librarians both trade with paper, which means you can get emeralds in exchange for your paper. But then also, paper is required for pretty much everything in the process. Like books, which they also trade for. It's required for bookshelves, which is also useful. It's required for lecterns, which, fun fact, use bookshelves and therefore use paper. You need a lot of this, so get at least some amount. And yeah, we're going to go to the Nether now, and I'm actually going to go over towards my reconstructed village, which I guess sounds really weird if you haven't heard about it, but, how about I show you rather than tell you? Isn't that the cool thing about videos? You can show and tell. I have to be so careful using my Elytra, by the way, because, when this is gone, if we don't have mending yet, it's kind of gone and we have to get another one. It's a whole thing, basically. But yeah, this right here is my reconstructed village. I destroyed 2 entire villages and then kind of rebuilt them together. It's strange, I'll admit. It's not a traditional village, but you know what? It's 2019. What is a traditional village if you think about it? Anyway, with that said, let's now build ourselves a bunch of lecterns because, as you might know, every single villager has a skilling station. The reason there are so many farmers here is because there's so many of these things. The composters, I think they're called. What is their actual official name? There's so many composters around, and because of that, there's a lot of farming villagers. If we remove their composters, they won't be able to be farmers anymore, and if we replace those composters, or even, you don't have to even replace them, if you just add in a lot of your new thing, you can replace their profession with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into one of these chests, which apparently contains emeralds. What a nice little surprise. Honestly, I'm quite shocked I haven't checked the chest before, because 3 emeralds is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, it's not much to be happy with either, but whatever. Anyway, so we're going to make ourselves some lecterns, which, just in case you don't know, it's a really weird recipe. Like, all of the 1.14 recipes, in my opinion, are a little bit wacky, because I feel like Minecraft is running out of reasonable, easy to come up with recipes. But either way, yeah, what you want to do is you want to take some jungle wood, or any wood, like just wood of some form. You get some slabs, you get a bookshelf, you combine them together, and then all of a sudden, you have lecterns. So now we put the lecterns where the villagers are, including in this little enclosure here, which I don't think they're going to be very happy with, but let's throw a lectern in there, and all of a sudden, one of the villagers is going to be like, hey, I've changed my ways. Instead of being a farmer, I'm going to start reading books now, or something along those lines. So yeah, anywhere where we've got beds, we're going to throw a lectern down, just to try and change their skilling profession. We're going to need more of these later, but you can already see this guy is literally converted over already. It's funny, because he's locked inside a cage, a weird cage. Again, I had very limited blocks to work with, but now he is a librarian, which means he will trade paper in exchange for those beautiful emeralds, which also will work for us later. But yeah, and at a bunch of different stages during his thing, he will have the opportunity to sell books with enchantments on, which will be really great. So for now, I guess we'll just sell him some paper to prove this point. Oh no, I don't think we have quite enough paper to get him up to the next level, but still, you get the point that, like, oh yeah, we can use paper, our most abundant resource, and turn it into emeralds, which is a really swell thing by itself, but it gets more swell when this eventually becomes beneficial to us. So yeah, we're just going to place the rest of the lecterns down, What is this room, by the way? Did I do this, or is this a naturally spawning villager house? I genuinely don't know at this point. Like, I feel like if my level of designing matches the game's, then there's probably a bit of concern there because of the level of my stuff. But again, we'll deal with that another time, another minute. For now, let's just go remove all of the other skilling professions, because you saw in this place there was a stonecutter. That gives the potential that a villager will become a toolsmith, maybe, I think it is. But yeah, we don't want any of the possibilities and stuff like that. Instead, we want, we got some breeding going on. Instead, what we want is we want everyone to have to be a librarian and have as many lecterns as we can. And then we also want to have as many beds as possible, so we do breed villagers. More villagers equals more potential librarians. But anyway, Toycat, earlier you said something along the lines of like, oh yeah, something mending your life, right? Is that serious? Is that all good? There's a funny meme that's been going on in the comments of like Toycat slowly going insane, right? And I'd like to clarify, I'm not slowly going insane in any form. I like the meme though. I do enjoy it. Please do keep it up. And I think when you say you like a meme, it usually kills it. So sorry if that happens. But if it doesn't, again, I've been enjoying the fact that just the last week and a half has been Toycat's madness about cave updates. I enjoy it. It's good. It's fun stuff. But yeah, one of the things that has been relatedly interesting in the same way. Also, I guess we got a lot of beds in this village already. We probably have like plenty of villager room to breed. The only reason they're not. Oh no, they literally are breeding. So yeah, we'll just keep on increasing the villagers' room to breed, because I've got plenty of houses which just need beds because we didn't have enough from before. So we can fix that issue right now and create a lot of villager wonderfulness. But a lot of people have been concerned. It's funny actually. I try not to vent about any like real big kind of issues and stuff. And I feel like let's take today's video as an opportunity to be kind of the opposite to that. Let's try and be a little different to normal in that way. Just because again, I really value honesty. I've said that before. Like I like being able to trust people. I like being honest with people. I think like the closest thing I get to lying is like lying by omission, or like lying. Sometimes there are things that you cannot say because it's not your truth to say, right? Like, a lot of the times things affect someone else, especially in the realm of relationships or whatnot. And yeah, I think it's kind of interesting that a lot of people, like from some of the things I've said in the past few weeks were like concerned about me in some way. And I guess I figure like I talk about that, address that, and actually talk about what it is. What is the thing you're mending in your life, Toycat? How are you making the pun between linking between mending, your Elytra and mending your life? And I guess that, to explain that one really simply, it is, like most things are okay, but also I think like things not being okay isn't a bad thing necessarily. It sounds like it is, right? Like okay, opposite of okay is not, I guess like, opposite of good is bad, and if things aren't going good, then they're going bad. Or the opposite of when things are great and well put together is when they're not well put together, and that'd be terrible. Are things not well put together, etc. And yeah, I don't know. I guess there's some merit to that sort of thinking too. Don't get me wrong. I understand why people would like to think that way. Also, why are they all breeding in this little hole? Like it's useful to me. Don't get me wrong. It's just also very strange. Let's place a bed in there just in case that helps them. Like if we have a bed in the center, they can't climb out, but they can breed in it, maybe? This is going to be some really strange stuff. But yeah, so a lot of people have expressed some concern. A lot of people actually guessed that I'd broken up, which is weird because I was very deliberately trying to not say that. Again, it's, like, I think talking about relationships on YouTube, like, current status, like, this, that, is generally a bad idea because it's, it comes back to the whole, it's not a me thing. And also, I've gone through some particularly nebulous, like, ups and downs of, like, is it really together, is it not? And, like, announcing, like, oh, yeah, because, like, if you don't know, I broke up with someone, then got back together with them, and, like, having to announce, like, oh, yeah, we broke up, except we're back together, that would be, I don't know, like, I guess not embarrassing, but you kind of want to believe, especially when you unbreak up, right, when you get back together after a small break, they're like, oh, yeah, you weren't really ever apart, you were just temporarily in a lover's spat, or some, I don't know, these are the things I like to imagine that people like to imagine, at least. Also, I can trade 32 rotten flesh for an emerald. That's actually not too bad if I'm in the area anyway, right? So yeah, here you can see our first example of a trading book. Actually, it could be mending right here. I don't know how to check it. It's knockback 2. So here you can see 23 emeralds will get me knockback 2. It's not a great trading offer, but if I get this same villager up to level, like 3, then at level 3, there's another chance of getting another book. And at level 5, there's another one. And I believe the levels you can actually, like the quality of enchantments does vary by the level of the thing. But yeah, you have a chance of getting mending on the first book, and then a chance on the third book, and a chance on the 5th one. So we just have to get a lot of librarians, get them all going higher levels, and then get a lot of emeralds from them and make sure that this happens. You can see what the point is here, right? Like, lots of villagers. Oh, look, another one just converted on the spot. I don't know why. My cleric is now gone. And in his place, oh, here we go. Look at this. We got here, this book. Oh, we actually can't see it yet. But there's another chance with this guy. And all we have to do is complete our trades with them. So, yeah, we need to trade a lot of paper, as well as, like, I guess, books when that comes up, with a lot of villagers, which is what a lot of today's video is going to be, because we need mending. I can't mend my life until I've got mending the enchantment. And actually, you know, I'll be mending my life by talking about it a little bit with you while we go harvest some sugarcane. So let's go. We can't really fly. Well, let's walk back to our portal, then let's walk through the nether, back to the sugarcane farm, and let's go harvest some sugarcane and combine that with some cows. Side note here, but I also lost my sword with mending on, and for the most part that sucks. Like, oh, I had mending and smite together, but my new sword, which I replaced it with, both has looting and also has fire aspect on, so I can kill animals and then instantly get cooked meat. I don't know why I love that so much, but it's a great little way, you know, to in my head, it's really efficient. I like it. It's great. Would recommend. But let's go harvest some sugarcane, shall we? So this is the part of the video which has a lot of talking and words and stuff. If you don't like those things, because every now and then someone's like, wow, the video's 40 minutes. I just want to know about the title. The title, like, how do you get mending? It's already explained, don't worry. If you don't like the talking, press M on your keyboard and you can mute the video and you can play it in 2 times speed and just pretend I'm not here. Or you can just skip ahead or whatever. That's a thing. I want to give you the things to get away from, because every now and then there's someone who complains about, like, oh, I hated there was this, and it's like, you clicked on the video. You're here, you know, for this sort of thing. The title has been explained. You can leave it if you like. It's really strange when people complain that they're watching a Let's Play and there's too much talking going on. This is the point. This is the thing that makes this unique. Do you want this to be like every other piece of Minecraft content? Because that's not what I do on this channel, right? It's not what I do in the slightest. What I do, apparently, you know, it's something, you know, actually, yeah, this is one of the things I want to talk about in the past week, because I've been, if you don't know, I've been in Mexico, and I've been in Texas, or if I want to be controversial, I could say I've been in Mexico, and I've been in the part of Mexico that's currently not part of Mexico. There we go. There's me controversing all up over the place. But no, more seriously, I've had a week off for the most part, and I literally got off the plane about an hour and a half ago. I got home, and 5 minutes later, I started this recording. So if I'm loopy or wacky or whatever, now you know why. But yeah, no, you know, that kind of scoop. And yeah, that's been what I've been up to in the past week. But what I've been up to isn't the thing that I really want to talk about, because I mean, I think I have such an interesting story that I'd love to tell in like 2 years. Statute of limitation. I have this like concept in my head of like, you know what? I don't like to tell stories about present events, like things that have just happened, because again, it's the telling truths about, you know, so telling someone else's truth, that's not great. It's a truth in progress in some cases, which sounds crazy, but it is a real thing to some extent, right? Like, yeah, there are truths that are in the process of changing. There are other people's truths that kind of embarrass them, but after a certain number of years, it's kind of fair game. That's why I feel like the Worst Day Ever story, if you haven't watched, it's a video on my second channel, the Worst Day Ever story, I love that video because it hurts me to watch that, by the way. But I love that video just because it's like, yeah, that's a thing I don't mind putting out there, because it is a thing that did happen. So, yeah, in the same way, I've got a great story for like 2 years. Someone set like a calendar reminder 2 years from now, and I'll tell you about the wackiest story that sounds unbelievable, but I want it to be on paper right now, that I have a fun story, maybe the opposite of fun. It was the opposite of fun going through it, I'll tell you that much. But I have a very fun story I'd love to share at some point. But yeah, the thing I wanted to talk about is not necessarily even, you know, the things itself. It's all the things that it made me think about, because I've been doing a lot of thinking. I've had a lot of just, you know, time inside of my own head, which is sometimes healthy, sometimes unhealthy, working out yourself. And yeah, so also one of the things I did this past week is I did a very selfless thing. I did this super selfless act, I would say, and I keep on thinking about it because I keep wanting to tell people, and I hate that about myself, because as soon as I tell anyone the exact thing I did, you know, I did something which I think was nice. I think was not for my own benefit, but was for the benefit of other people. But the moment I tell people about it, maybe me talking about the abstract here, have I, you know, is it truly selfless, or have I done something because I want to feel good and I want other people to think that I'm good? It's one of those things that like it's kind of been messing me up mentally, because I'm like, oh yeah, there's this thing I'll tell someone. It's like, no, I'm not going to tell someone, because if I tell someone, that I'm just trying to make myself feel and seem really good. And once I've done that, you almost defeat the point of continuing doing a good thing. So yeah, I did a good thing recently, a pretty selfless thing, and I can't stop thinking about it, which is maybe you know, a bad sign that like, oh, it's such a rare event that wow, you can't even stop. But yeah, I did something kind of selfless, and it really has stuck in my brain this whole time, because it kind of goes back to something else, which is the concept of achieving good and bad. As you all know, and at least if you understand that the world is nuanced, you'll know that there's no such thing as good and evil people, right? There's no such thing as good and bad actions. Most things you'll try to accomplish will achieve good and bad things. Sometimes it'll be the super selfless thing, like the one thing I did that was so great, I'm not even going to tell you about it because I'm that darn selfless. See, now I'm using the fact that I'm not telling you about it as a way to make myself feel even better. But yeah, like the truth is like every action in life has some positive consequences and some negative consequences. And yeah, one of the things that I've been thinking about, because I guess because of something that happened, is of the negative consequences of actions, but also of, you know, like I guess, you know, the negative consequences of entire things. Think about this YouTube channel, for example. A lot of people tell me about the positivity this has achieved in their life. Like this helps the, you know, like they feel like someone else actually understands them, or like, you know, it helps them with social anxiety. I remember once the first like Facebook message that resonated with me was someone was like, hey, this, you know, you helped me, you talking about depression helped me through it because you had the same, like, I mentioned once like I was depressed and I was a teenager, I explained like what was going on, and they're like, oh wow, that really helped me, like that resonated me in a way. That means a lot. That's some good achieved. I don't know if you know, I couldn't tell you to what level or in what way that really helped them, but the fact that it did feels good to me. I would say the channel has achieved some good to that person, and hopefully overall. And not to mention the fact that like if you're watching this video just right now as like even just as a podcast or something, this video is helping you fill the time in your day, or hopefully more than fill the time in the day. Hopefully, you know, this is actually making you raise questions about the good and the bad things in the world. But you know, the point is this video, you know, the videos I make, I hope achieve good things in the world, right? The YouTube channel in general, this whole thing, hopefully achieves good things overall. But what about the bad things that it achieves? Like, I don't know why. Like, this is only something I guess I thought about recently. It's something I try to stay. I try to think about it every time I make a video. Like, what are the negative consequences of me doing this? And you know, like, hopefully they're outweighed by the positive ones. But one of the things I didn't think about is like, there's a lot of unforeseen negative consequences of any action, and you know, this YouTube channel is no doubt non-exception to that one. What amount of negativity would make the, you know, the YouTube channel overall a bad thing? Should I be focused on the bad things, that, you know, like trying to minimize harm, or should I be focused on trying to maximize good? And I guess the answer I always come to, the answer that I feel like, you know, the utilitarian approach would be like, well, you should always be trying to make sure that there's more good than bad, in the sense that if you can, you know, let's say I make this video right now. This video achieves two good things and one bad thing. Like, two people decide not to kill themselves, but one person, here's what I'm saying right now, and decides to kill themselves. Is that a positive outcome? And again, it kind of goes back to the trolley problem of like, well, I mean, it depends on how you want to see things. But I would say that, yeah, right? If, again, don't ask me how this is possible. I don't think anyone is killing themselves or not killing themselves because of this video. But if you are, thank you. Wait, unless you're killing yourself. Please don't. You know, there are better options, I think. Yeah, the interesting thing to me is that, like, yeah, a lot of people... there's a lot of good things, a lot of bad things that come from everything. And how do you balance those two? Because even the worst corporations in the world, you know, like think about a Nestle or something, like just objectively evil, well, not objectively, but pretty, you know, pretty not nice corporations. When you think about these giant things, it's like they're actually, you know, alongside doing all those bad things, well, I mean, they actually provide a lot of, you know, like tens of thousands of employees a stable source of living, right? As well as that, like, you know, people choose to buy their water. They, you know, a bottle of Nestle water, as awful as Nestle water is, like, for a whole bunch of reasons, has probably saved someone's life at one point, right? Like, oh yeah, I was in, you know, like, I desperately needed some water, and only Nestle water was there. Boom. But yet, you know, at the same time, does it excuse the bad things? Even if you could actually calculate it and weigh out the, like, oh yeah, well, all of the, you know, like, I don't know, the breastfeeding mothers that had to, like, basically, but all of the malnutrition, malnourishment, all of the malnourishment caused in Africa, all of this and that, oh yeah, it's actually outweighed by this. Would that actually be the case? Or would you say, well, actually, even if you achieve 2 good things for every 1 bad thing you achieve, you're still doing the bad things, and that's still terrible. It's something I think about a lot because people like to think about every single individual consequence as being entirely separated from the rest, right? Like, oh yeah, my favorite example is plastic straws. We're not going to talk about straws too much, but people love the idea of like, no, plastic straws are objectively bad, campaign against them because plastic straws kill turtles. I mean, plastic turtles probably could kill a straw too, but plastic straws kill turtles, right? It's something everyone knows. It's so evil. But I mean, the truth of it's a bit messy and a bit. Again, the truth is always more complex than just a simple slogan. People like the simple slogan of like, oh yeah, this is the bad thing to blame. There are turtle deaths directly on the shoulders of people who drink, or maybe just the companies who make plastic straws, right? But again, it's way more actually complex than that. There's a lot of stuff going, there's a lot of good being achieved by them, a lot of bad being achieved by them. As I learned, by the way, this past week, I had to drink like, think about a smoothie, like all the thickness at the top. Without a straw, it was terrible. I didn't drink the smoothie. I made a bad life decision. That's going to cause, I guess that's going to cause some number of people to stop drinking smoothies and eventually move into more, I guess, because a milkshake, you don't need a straw, right? So you start drinking milkshakes and stuff like that instead, and suddenly that's a burden not only on yourself, because, living an obese life is objectively worse for you than not, and also on the healthcare services that of the countries you live in, and, all the knock-on effects are something that no one can, you can't get a big group to mobilize around because, most people don't care about knock-on effects. They care about direct, 1 equals good, 2 equals bad, make 1 equals 2. Well, whatever the thing may be. And, I've been thinking about this one a lot. Because the answer most people will give to, like, is it worth achieving, should you focus on maximizing good or minimizing the bad, is always maximize the good, right? Because most things that most people do most of the time are mostly good. I was saying, like, oh yeah, what if a person, what if 2 people don't kill themselves and 1 person kills themselves? Realistically, no one is, that was a fun example. I guess not a very fun example, but that was an example because it's not really going to happen, right? The worst harm that a video is going to do is going to be something like, oh yeah, someone watches a video, here's a thing I said, and maybe I made a mistake. They replicate the mistake, and it's like, oh, this didn't work for me. That, it's bad. It's not something I want. It's actually something I think about a lot when I'm uploading videos, but it's not necessarily like, oh yeah, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone. It's just a thing that can happen. And where, the best outcomes, again, there are a few people who seem to be really positively affected by stories of depression or of, life and all these different things we talk about. And hopefully it improves their life somewhat. Maybe they have a happier relationship with their spouse or their kids or whatever. I don't know what it necessarily ends up being. But, I think about it because most people would say maximize the good, and I think they'd say that because it feels good to. It, on some level, whether we like it or not, I think we always are just thinking about our, base level instincts isn't the right word, but sure, let's use it just for now because of the lack of a better one. People are worried about like, oh yeah, it feels good when I do good things, and it doesn't actually feel bad when I indirectly do bad things. For me, actually I think for most people, the thing I said about incorrect information leading people to waste their own time? Most people don't think about that. Oh, is that the same thing happening here about light levels, by the way? Like, can sugarcane not grow unless there's light, or did I just chop this down? This is a weird thing. Why is there just a whole line of sugarcane missing? But there's a really interesting thing. Like, people like the feeling of directly doing something good, but they don't feel bad when something indirectly bad is done. And I guess here's a good example there, because I love the moral philosophy of like, hey, the trolley problem's a great example, but like anything where it's like, hey, here's an objectively better answer, but it just doesn't fit our current views or whatever. Like, would you kill 1 person to save 5? You should say yes, but most people don't. But here's a way more fun example, because, like trolley problems overdone. We could talk about it forever. It's just one of the basics. What if we say, okay, you're a doctor, right? You know medicine now, at least better than anyone around you. So you are a doctor, and you know that you can save a patient. However, the only way you can say, you know, like, for some reason, there's some disease this man has contracted, where the only way you can save this patient is to cheat on his wife, make his wife cheat on him with you. That is the only way. You have to not only, you know, like, do the act and all this stuff, but you have to, you know, actually be convincing. You have to convince her to do it. She has to be not in on the act. He can't know about it even after it's done. As soon as he learns that you did it to cure him, it will uncure him. Again, I don't know what disease this would be, but like, go along with it, right? So you have to commit something that's gonna feel bad to you. I don't think I would enjoy cheating on someone with. I don't know what the words are on all of this stuff, but yeah, right. I don't think I would, at least me personally, I don't think it would be enjoyable. Maybe it's someone's fancy, but for the 99% of you who aren't inclined that way, wouldn't that be tricky, right? You'd be like, oh no, yeah, I don't actually want to, you know, do this. But will you do it to save that man's life? Objectively, you should, even though it's going to be terrible for you. Again, ignore your own girlfriend, wife, etc. They're cool with it in this circumstance. It's just down to like, are you willing to ruin that man's relationship? Are you willing to, you know, ruin that man's entire partnership? And also do some, you know, like, have him hate you, have his wife hate you, maybe have a few people hate you. Are you willing to do something morally bad yourself? Or maybe in exchange for achieving more good in the world? And I feel like a lot of people would say, like, I don't know about that one, actually. I feel like if you take any example which involves your own ego, what if, for instance, the only way you could cure a patient was, you know, like, you had to admit you were a bad doctor. You just had to say, hey, yeah, I'm a really bad doctor. Just go home, you know, find another doctor. What if for some reason that is the cure? Like, if he thinks you're a bad doctor, that's the only solution. If he has to leave you a 1-star Yelp review, I don't even know, like, how doctors work in America in this exact case. But, like, you know, what if that was the case? What if you just had to believe, you know, like, convince someone you're the worst? Because actually, there are situations in life where the best outcome comes from you just, like, you know, you diminishing your own, like, stature. Like, when someone threatens you on the street, they know they're trying to, like, you know, peak on that, like, oh yeah, you're just gonna let me do this to you? You're just gonna let me, you know, say mean things to you? They want you to start a fight with them, so they, you know, kind of raise the ante in that way. I don't know, maybe I sound crazy, but yeah. So one of the things I've been going through that kind of is related to that, because a really interesting one to think about. And yeah, so let me talk about how this is kind of related to me, because yeah, again, a lot of people have been like guessing, like, so Toy Cat, did you break up or something recently? Again, I have no idea what what exactly it was that led people to say this. Maybe I'm not very subtle about something I say. So again, I don't actually know the precise circumstances, but a lot of people have been guessing it, and I try not to lie. In general, I try to tell the truth as much as I can. When it's someone else's truth, it's kind of a tricky thing, and that's why you kind of leave it off the side. But yeah, I recently went through a really one, I would say probably the hardest breakup I've been in for, yeah, maybe the hardest breakup I've been to. Maybe bar the time I was ghosted. I don't know if I've ever told that story. I think that, like, is just coming up to its 2 years, so maybe that'd be a fun story for some time. But yeah, I think besides the time where I was literally just, like, vanished on midway through a relationship with someone that I thought I cared about, I guess. But I mean, I guess I did care about them, but, you know, clearly there was not a mutual care or something along those lines. But yeah, I think oh, I actually did that by accident. I just made a bunch of books entirely by mistake, and I guess that works for me. So yeah, we got a bunch of books, we got a bunch of paper, we're gonna go back to the village, we're gonna get this done. But yeah, it was really hard, and it sounds weird to say this, but the reason it was so hard is because it was this is the first real relationship I was almost entirely in charge of. Like, maybe that's embarrassing to admit. Maybe like, wait, really? Every single time till now, you were basically dumped? A couple of times? No, actually, just once it was kind of mutual, and every other time it was like, basically like, yeah, well, I mean, is it mutual of some, you know, like, it's been mutual before, like, okay. So there's a funny thing in relationships, right? Where there's like 3 ways you can break up. There's you break up with them, they break up with you, or you mutually decide. But mutually deciding isn't generally mutually deciding, right? It's, oh yeah, that's how every relationship should end, in that you talk about it and then you agree to break up. So yeah, the reality, most relationships end in a mutual way, but it's not really mutual, right? Like, so yeah, this was the first time that it, like, because, you know, like, the time I broke up, the girl ghosted me. We had a big talk after it, and she was just like, oh yeah, I just didn't feel like talking. Again, we can dive into that another time. But like, it was technically mutual, but it was also sad, and It's one of the like few times I think I've cried in public. You know, that's a fun story for another time. That I'm totally just gonna leave the side because it's not relevant today. But yeah, no, it's a really, really, really interesting thing to dive into because yeah, there's no real such thing as a mutual breakup in my experience. Like it's mutual in the sense that you talk about it rather than just saying you're dumped or whatever. But also, does that really count as mutual? Is that the definition that we're gonna go with? Maybe it does. Maybe it does. Let's just say it does for now. But yeah, I recently went for a breakup that was basically just like, yeah, this is something I really want, but that doesn't work. It really, I don't know. It's a position that I've never been in until that point, and something about it being that way kind of breaks me. Kind of the reason I need mending, both the enchantment and in my life, is because it's not good. I like, okay, one of the things, it's probably not healthy, but one of the cool things about when a relationship ends and it's, you know, like, it's not your fault in air quotes or in real quotes, it's like, oh yeah, how awful they are. Or when it's, there's a lot of bad things going on, oh, aren't they awful? But when it's like a situation where there are lots of things you really, really like about each other and it just comes down to like, oh yeah, but also we're just not the people, that just hurts because there's no way around that besides, oh yeah, there is just sadness in the world. It's not, you know, there's no person to blame. There's no big figure of like, oh, they're evil and that's why this is happening. It's just, you know, the way most things are in life. We're like, oh yeah, a bad thing happened and now you have to deal with it. But on the scale of like, you know, years of relationship, that's hurtful, right? That's a weird thing. Oh, by the way, just as a related thing, a lot of people think I was dating or am dating the female toy cat. Like, there's a female version of me on Twitter. It's you know, a lot of people follow them. I don't know if they think it's an official account. You can follow it even if you don't think it's official. It's cute. It's me but like female, and there's fun tweets about us getting married or whatever. But like, obviously, I'm not dating the female version of me. I like that just to be clarified. I wish I was dating the female version of me. She, again, if you haven't seen, you know. I guess just check it on Twitter, female toy cat. It's the Snapchat filter, but on girl mode. This is the most like this is the most self-serving thing to say, but I would love if there was actually a female version of me in the world. I would love to date me, but sadly I'm not on the market. I'm not available to date. I have checked. I have tried. So you know, what is the second best thing to dating you? Dating someone that you really like and that has all the things that you want. And imagine. You know, if you, I don't know, it's weird having to go through a phase of questioning everything. Because if something doesn't work when it has every right to, how are things that don't have a right to work ever going to? And yeah, I would say my life right now is, again, don't actually be concerned about me. I can handle myself quite well. For the most part, I would say my life is on a continuous upswing with just like small peaks and valleys here and there. But oh no, the villagers are escaping again because of the same thing. I need them to get to lectern so they can actually restock their paper trades, by the way. That's most what I'm waiting for right now, like villager breeding and villager restocking, which is most of what this does eventually come down to. So, I don't know, bring a book or bring a discussion about the existential crisis that comes when things don't really quite work. And honestly, so yeah, also, did that just happen in front of me? I was about to take a little pause, but yeah, we can trade for some sugarcane if we want. It's a really bad trade, but we can trade 3 emeralds for 3 paper, and then trade 24 paper back for 1 emerald if we really want to. It's a possibility. Also, it's happening. So yeah, we just wait until they skill somewhere, and then we sell them paper when they do. It's an easy enough system. We can wait, and yeah, isn't that, I guess, a good motto for life as a whole? Because yeah, a lot of people might say like, well, I mean, so things are going bad? Question mark, like that. And I would say, in its own way. Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of people, the majority consensus is that you know, like bad times are something you need to get over as fast as possible, and I think that's probably healthy for most people. But for me, at least, because I like interesting stories, I like interesting times. You know, it's, again, something I would say almost horrific happened to me. Something felt like, I don't think actually something almost happened to me. I think something felt like it was going to happen. Something bad felt like it was going to happen. recently, and I feel like, you know, like it turned out it was something else instead. But the fact that it almost was something terrible is part of what makes part of an interesting story. That again will be unsealed in 2 years' time and available to tell on this channel. But yeah, the fact that like something like that's happens is interesting. I love interesting moments, and I think like saying because something's bad, it's subjectively bad. Like I know bad because bad, but I don't think that is true for everything. I think there are lots of things that are. I would describe my life as being in a chaotic phase right now. I think just because things are bad, it doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. In fact, to take things maybe a step further, I would say that everybody needs to have phases in their life, or a phase in their life, maybe multiple phases, where things fall apart. I think if everything is together all the time, then you don't grow as a person. And right now, I would just describe myself as being in a growth phase of some form. I really do see things as being like, oh yeah, at the present moment, right now, things are going through some changes, and I kind of am just letting it in a way. Or if all of that sounds super cryptic, and I guess it maybe does. Maybe it sounds like I'm not saying anything with all of the words that I'm using to say nothing. So instead, let's put it this way. You know, depression is seen mostly as a bad thing. If you are depressed right now, it's just a bad thing, right? There's no upside to depression. No one's ever like, oh yeah, I hope I get depressed this year. No, depression's not a good thing. But the one good thing that does come from depression and I would say the side effects of, you know, like kind of shunning so many people, one of the positive upsides is when you get through it, you realize what's important in your life. If, you know, because you know, most depressed people, a lot of things just get cut out. They have less effective time they can use to socialize with friends, to do the things they want to do. And in the same way, I'm not in a depressive state right now, but I'm in a state where everything is changing. And I'm learning from the changes, you know, kind of like how the changes on this channel have been, I would say, positive for the most part. I'm learning from the changes, like what I actually enjoy and what parts of my life are kind of fluff. Because, you know, there's a lot of things that are just baked into you as assumptions, I feel like. That's, you know, disagree if you like. But I think a lot of things are just humanly baked into us. But also, Fire Aspect. That's actually a pretty good book. But there's another book at level 3. I thought it was just 135, but I guess you can do it almost every level. So let's keep on trading here until we get to this level. We can even give them... Oh, if we give them 25... So buying Fire Aspect might not be a terrible idea, because we'll get a bunch of stuff back. So yeah, there's kind of a trade-off there. But let's keep waiting till we can sell books again. Books are a really great trade. We have so much leather from the Too Many Cows video that is upcoming. But yeah, I don't think that negative things happening is directly negative, because in the same way, you know, people like to say things happen for a reason. I think that's a simplification. I would, you know, even if things happen for a reason, I'm never going to be happy if my, you know, like, I don't know, my children are killed in a car accident. I'm never going to be happy if I burn alive, you know, lose, you know, if I lose one of my hands, you know, I won't be able to play video games. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm sorry if you don't have a hand, but I think that's, you know, off my self-worth illness. Like, you know, it's over. I can't play games. This is a significant portion of my life. Is it worth living? Question mark, you know? At least the question mark on there. I think we can all agree. And, yeah, you know, I think those things are terrible. Those things don't happen for a reason. Those are tragedies. Sorry to anyone who's had a tragedy. But I think the real part, the useful part of everything happens for a reason, is that, yeah, bad things help you consolidate. It's like I said, it's like, I'm sure we can all agree, you don't learn when... Oh, we got some skilling going on. Yeah, you don't learn from only good things. You learn especially well from bad things, you know? Like, I would say, yeah, when you do something right, you learn in a way, but when you do something really wrong, you learn in a much bigger way. I had a relationship at one point where I basically dated a crazy girl for a really long time, and I think you know, a lot of people don't like the term. A lot of people don't like the term emotional abuse, or don't like the idea that, like, you know, a girl even can abuse the guy in a relationship. So I won't imply those things, because whatever, you can have your own opinions. I understand different context, different reality for you. So I won't directly say either of those things were what happened in that relationship. But what I will say is, as a result of that questionable relationship, like this questionable relationship right here, As a result of that, I think I've learned a lot of really, I guess, like, like red flag behaviors that I wouldn't have assumed before. Because I think maybe a lot of people have this. Maybe it's just a me thing. I'm gonna overshare right now. But I think wanting to save someone is like a big thing in my head. When, like seeing someone having some difficulties, I want to help them with them. The whole point of this channel is I love helping, giving people advice in Minecraft. Like having some issues, watch this video. Want a better seed? Watch this video. I love the advice. I love the help. I want to help people. I don't think I can do it on a one-to-one level in any effective way. But I do really love, you get it? Because hearts. But I really love helping people out. And in real life, like I think it's called a savior complex. Wanting to save people, wanting to really assist them. It's a common thing that people get. Also, are we level 3 now? Watch in, it's lore. Seriously, all the enchanted books for level 3, lore. That is, I can't imagine a less useful enchanted book because it's lore 1, so it's not even a good lore. You'd have to pay 9 emeralds, then pay money to enchant your fishing rod, and then it's still a pretty bad fishing rod. What is this book meant for? Do I buy the book and then disenchant it? What is the value in that? Okay, whatever. This is just a bad villager. Let's find a better villager. By the way, this village is actually starting to thrive. The villagers are breeding slowly but surely. Librarians are being born because we've got a lot of those around. And we can keep on doing our stuff until we get better books than... Is this fire aspect guy? I'm assuming this is fire aspect guy. It's not that guy. Okay, so we can keep on improving. Go on to the next level. Actually, should we just buy some of these? I think it's a worthwhile trade to see this book, because it might be meant... It's flame. Okay, well, Book and Quill's coming up next. Oh, this is just another villager where this isn't going anywhere fast. Okay, that's cool. Let's keep waiting for villagers to have it at level 1 or 2, and we'll try to go to level 5 if we need to. But I know for a fact you can get it on the level 1 and 2 guys, so let's keep praying that we'll do that eventually. By the way, the lantern is still called the sea lantern. Why is that the case? I guess they're just gonna wait till 1.13. Are they even gonna fix it in 1.13? Because it's some time until that comes out. That's a whole thing we should talk about soon, by the way. But yeah. This is a weird situation to be in. Just sea lantern is awkwardly staring at me. But yeah, let's keep on adding more lecterns to the village, because I think all of the baby villagers aren't necessarily gonna have the right profession unless we make sure every single one of these has a little lectern in. Just more lecterns is what I'm saying. More lecterns, more faster. It honestly is kind of crazy just how fast villagers can grow in some ways. Like, they're really slow on some aspects, but also really fast in others. There's a lot of concerning, like, father-son breeding in the sense that 4 villagers have created all of these, but we're not going to worry about that right now, like the incest coefficient or whatever. Instead, we're just going to worry about getting to the trade levels. They'll make us what we want. Oh, you can buy bookshelves if you want. Is that smart? It's definitely not smart, but I mean... Because, yeah, you get 3 books from a bookshelf, and it costs 4 for 1 emerald, but they'll sell it for 6. But, I mean, it might be a good way to just level them up so I can see that... Let's just to level them up real fast. What book is this? Mending! Hey! That fast. We did it. Now we have to lock this guy somewhere important. Like, I guess probably not lock him somewhere. Oh, where'd he go? He's running so fast for some reason. Like, is this normal? Are they meant to be able to run this fast? Is it because you have mending that you're running away? But yeah, we're going to lock this guy inside of a house. The way we're going to do that is we're going to... Yeah, he's got a little... No, he doesn't have a lectern in here yet. But we'll add a lectern in here. We'll remove the doors now. We're going to add in some composters instead. That sounds like a great idea. Because you can sort of see through them. And now we treat this as his bedroom. And we've got ourselves a mending villager. Isn't that great? In fact, let's buy it right now. Get that out of the way. We have a mending book. We can fix our Elytra. It costs 34, which I think is probably way too high. We should work on improving that. I know people always talking about, like, make a raid farm. Maybe I don't want it. Maybe that's not what I want in the world. You people... I've said before so many times that, like, yeah, if you tell me to do something, I'm not going to do it. But people are like, oh, what if we tell you anyway? Well, you know what's going to happen? I'm not going to do it. That's just how I work, apparently. Maybe that's a weird thing I've learned from the past at some point. But yeah, no, the reason I mentioned the past relationship thing and the lessons I've learned and the reasons that I'm so cautious of, I'll just say it, crazy people, right? Like, there are so many normal, high-functioning, good, happy, cute, good words. What's the word I'm actually looking for? Loving, maybe? I caring, maybe? I don't know, like, good words that you'd want in a girlfriend, right? That are off those things. But yeah, at the same time, my brain is like, whoa, man. I see, I see crazy and like, not even crazy. I see like, oh yeah, same medicines or whatever, and I'm like, that is a car crash waiting to happen. It's almost like one of the because I think again, right now a lot of things are being built and rebuilt within my mind and within my life as a whole in a good way, if such a thing you believe can exist. But as these things are happening, we're gonna wait for this villager to do it again, by the way. Oh, I just realized I don't even need him to restock to buy another copy of Mending. You can buy a couple of copies before he gets undone. That's actually really useful. So yeah, we got 2 books of Mending, one for a sword, maybe not this sword, but one for a sword, and one for the Elytra. So now that we've got Mending, now we've gone from the how do you get through the mending process, how do you get to the stage where you mend, I guess I should round out my thoughts, which have probably been a bit insane all over the place. Again, I slept 5 hours yesterday, I slept 2.5 hours the night before that, and that was with like some weird American alcohol inside me. It's like, you gotta bear in mind, this is like, these are thoughts that seem profound to me in some way, but literally mean nothing to the outside world. I understand that, don't worry. I'm at least self-aware, even if I am insane. Maybe not the same level. See, but I now know the behaviors that I should not push on to others because they cause serious emotional and psychological harm in the long term. But one of the interesting things about the mending process is it takes some time sometimes, but as long as you're aware that it needs to happen, as long as you're aware that it's a thing that is either happening or is going to need to happen, and it's something that you can work on, I think it's okay to have times where you're not good. I think it's not only okay, I think it's beneficial. I think you might say like, man, why do humans get depressed? It is a really stupid thing. And I actually agree with that. I don't know if I've said this before, but for the longest time, it's still a thought in the biggest part of my head. I thought I was just like, genetically predisposed to depression. It's actually just really common in the modern world. Like everyone gets depressed, both clinically and just in the state of mind. It's just it's seriously rising problem in the modern world. Maybe because of diagnosis, maybe it's a mental health crisis. Whatever. Make your own reasons as to why. But I don't think it's actually just an inherently negative thing. Because when I thought it was genetic, I was like, well, I won't have children because this is just awful. No one should be forced into this. Some of my teenage years were maybe the roughest because of it or whatever. But the part of it that's interesting is not the fact that it's bad, but the good that comes from it. The good that comes with the bad in that way. The yin yang. There's good inside. There's bad inside the good, and there's good inside the bad. And the good thing that comes with depression is you get to reorganize almost your entire life. You get to reorganize your values and what you see in the world. And I think, honestly, a lot of I don't want to say my values, because that makes it sound like those are able to change on a dime. But a lot of the things that I consider to be just me, just how I am, maybe they're not how I am. I think most of them probably are the same. But yeah, I'm in a, right now, towards the end of a phase of not really being sure about what even I am, what makes me interesting, what people like about me. One of the things I've been trying to improve recently is, my storytelling ability, for example. Because I want to tell that really great story about the time I was ghosted, or about, I've got another one that I think is close to the statute of limitations, or I think actually it's going to pass as well as I had an American girl who was also a very close friend, and that had some very, very interesting. That had I think the most ridiculous relationship end ever, but it's got even a fun story attached to that. I literally can't say it. It involves gherkins being jerked at late night hours, I guess. There's a whole funny story that is probably can't be told in its exact form on YouTube, but yeah, I would love to improve my storytelling because I love stories. I love telling, because I like to, most people most people just make up stories, right? It's a well-known fact for comedians and people like that. A lot of the stories tend to be made up because it's, there's two parts of a story. There's the content and there's the delivery. Kind of like how on YouTube we've got editing and we've got, we've not only got editing, but we've also got the video itself. You can fake the video instead of getting good editing, and you can, if you don't have a good idea, you can fake something. But also, you can have pretty bad ideas and just edit them well, or vice versa, whatever. In the same way, you can get better at your storytelling, or you can have better stories. And I actually do try to have better stories. Again, it sounds weird, but I actually like the fact that I went through a maybe awkward situation. I still don't know if it is awkward or not. But again, I've still got to process my feelings about, you know, a lot of things that have happened. But I like the fact that, you know, it's a slightly awkward story involving Americas. You know, like all those years ago now. Or, you know, about, oh yeah, I've been through the ghosting thing. Ghosting is a modern trend. I've experienced it firsthand in the strangest of ways. I like that I had a crazy girlfriend at one point, because now I have something to point to and be like, ah, here's a story. Wasn't that kind of cool or wacky? And yeah, I think having good stories to tell is important. But also, I've been trying to get better at telling the stories, and that's actually to kind of give you an update on something from before. I asked people like 3 weeks ago, like, hey, Facebook message me if you live in the Londonish area, or yeah, and you know, you wanna, you know, like just have a talk. One of the big things I've been doing in the very few people, it's been like 2 people. One of them was in Texas, and one of them was in was it London? In the Londonish area. Again, I always have to be vaguish on these things, but yeah, what I took from both particular circumstances. Should I put it on the unbreaking Elytra? Yeah, I guess we gotta have unbreaking and mending. One without the other is a little bit painful. Oh no, you can't do that anymore. Why can't you do that anymore? Why does the... I hate Minecraft so much. Why do you do... It's not too expensive. You lie, Minecraft. You lie, you cheat, and it's not okay. So what we'll do instead is we'll grab this pair. Maybe you've got to do it the other way around. You've got to add mending first, and then you've got to add... It's too experience. How is that ever too... You know, okay, we've got a mending Elytra. Let's go find some unbreaking. I don't know if I have unbreaking. It's a really rare... Oh, here we go. We take this, and now we try it that way. And it's 4? Whatever, we've got a mending Elytra. I fixed the things, and that's good. And, oh yeah, and also people ask, like, so are you really going to respond to people? Here's the funny thing. No one who lives in the London area who actually enjoyed... Like, a lot of people message me who enjoyed skiing or enjoyed walking. Maybe sometime when I do some international trip, I'll be able to get back to them. So, thank you to everyone who did that. And a lot of people messaged me from London, but didn't enjoy skiing or walking. So, I guess the lesson I learned is that people don't understand requirements. Which sounds mean, but whatever. I mean, is it mean if it's true? Sometimes is the answer. And, yeah, also, I need to get a mending sword, because I don't think... I definitely know I can't put mending on this, right? I feel like that... Wait, what? What is... I don't understand the enchanting system in the slightest. Like, how is that just an okay thing to do? Actually, I think what would be better is I have a smite sword. I want to have a smite mega sword anyway. So what we'll do is we'll take this mending and trade it for this mending, because this one has smite on as well. I think I'd rather have Smite 5. I think Smite 4 and 5 are roughly the same. I guess we'll find out when we make a terrible mistake right now and replace Sharpness with... Oh no, you can't replace Smite with Bane of... Because Bane of Arthropods 5 is more powerful than Smite. So we got Bane of Arthropods for whatever godforsaken reason on this. We need to get Smite for another Smite 4 book, if that's a thing that exists. And then we got to combine it with that... Oh, wait. Looting and Smite? Is there no, like, just Smite by itself? Hey, Smite 4. So we're giving it Protection 4, which sucks. But we take this, and we take that, and we get Smite and Mending, right? Well, we get Smite, Protection, and Mending. Then what we do is we put that on the sword, and that does replace... Why does Smite 5 not replace Bane of Arthropods 5? Who wants Bane of Arthropods 5? What Arthropod... By the way, it doesn't even cover bees as of the most recent beta. What arthropod do you want to kill so bad that you don't want Smite? I've just ruined this book. What is the... And now you understand what my internal dialogue is like. Which sounds like a bad thing. But I think, honestly, growth processes are important. They sound really bad. No one ever wants to grow. Everyone wants to be grew, right? I know that sounds like a silly sentence to say, but it's true. People don't like the process of going somewhere. They like the process of being there. But life is about the journey. This video might have had a frustrating end. But I have the Mending Elytra, and I had a pretty good time talking too. I feel a bit better I feel like I didn't flesh out some of my thoughts. But the ones I did, I feel like I feel better about. I feel like releasing this is going to be weird. I feel like some people are not going to necessarily like it. But I think in an hour and 10 minutes, which is the real recording time of this, I think we achieved a surprising amount, and I enjoyed that time. And I enjoyed my time with you here today. If you're curious, the videos over the next week are going to be a little different to normal because the editor, I believe, goes back to college, if I'm not mistaken. September's always a weird month on YouTube because most channels focus on kids, right? That's not what we do here and or have ever done here. But yeah, because of September's just a weird month on YouTube, so I will see how that one goes. I would expect that over the next week, there's more of these Let's Play style videos than normal. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we do more streams. Maybe we do less streams. I honestly have yet to work that out. All I know is I'm crazy tired and I haven't slept properly in many, many days. But that's okay, because when I do sleep, it'll be great. And when you sleep, you should think about that selfless act I did, because it was so great, and I deserve all the praise in the world, I think. But no, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope it taught you how to get mending. Or if it didn't teach you, then I hope that you enjoy the fact that I have mending Elytra, and I can finally just get back to doing things. Because there's so many things I've just not been able to do, because I can't fly over to them. It's been holding back my life, basically. As you'll see in my my previous video that is coming out soon. I know it's confusing that this is going out right now, but there's video I recorded like last week going out tomorrow. But you know, I'm sure you'll work it out. It's a really cool video. It took a long time to edit. That's why it's coming out tomorrow. 42 things that you should know about Minecraft. I'm doing one of those old style videos with a bunch of like modern day effort in terms of like putting it together and editing. I think you're going to enjoy the video, but I also think that you're going to enjoy your life, even if it doesn't seem like it sometimes. So thank you very much for watching, because I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.